Hi there, welcome back to the Cordless Vacuum Guide, and in this review, I'll be comparing two premium robot vacuums from two of the top brands in the industry, the Roomba J7 Plus and the Roborock S7 Plus. I've recently finished reviewing the J7 Plus, so I thought it was proper to compare it to another high-end robot vacuum to see how it stacks up. Each model offers something unique. The J7 Plus is the first Roomba product with a front-facing camera, helping it avoid obstacles better than any robot vacuum I've tested. While the Roborock S7 Plus introduced Viberize that combines two new technologies, a vibrating mopping pad and a mop lifting feature that raises the pad when it detects carpet. So which option is better? The answer will depend on what your preference is, but to help you out, I've put these robots through a grueling series of tests to determine the strengths and weaknesses of each brand. There's a lot to unpack, so let's get into it. I'll start with the similarities. The most obvious is the round frame, which isn't surprising since all Roborock and Roomba products except the S9 have the same shape. With the round frame, the brush layout underneath is similar, but there are differences between the side brush and the primary brush design. The J7 Plus uses iRobot's patented counter-rotating extractors, while the S7 is the first Roborock product with a brand new bristleless roller with rubber fins wrapping around it. Both rollers offer excellent agitation, picking up cleanly despite the low airflow. Another difference is the side brush design. The J7 Plus has a three-pronged design with bristled tips, similar to their other round-shaped robots. The S7 utilizes Roborock's newer 5-pronged all-rubber side brush. I like it better since it offers better durability, and it doesn't spin as rapidly, which is an issue with the J7. It won't scatter as much dirt, helping it be more efficient at picking up debris. The next similarity is that both robots have a self-emptying feature. Auto-empty robots are becoming more popular because of the convenience of not having to empty them by hand. The Roomba J7 and Roborock S7 both have the bag auto-empty dock, but only the S7 has a separate filter inside one of the barrels. I think it has a filter to accommodate the bagless version available in select markets to keep production costs down. The S7 has a larger bag volume at 3 liters, slightly larger than the J7's capacity at 2.4 liters. Both robots have a ramp-style dock where the robot sits, and I prefer this design over vertical docks as it offers better stability. But the J7 dock has a bigger port that connects directly to the brush roll. The J7 port is similar to the S9, i6 and i3, connecting to a dedicated slot underneath the dustbin. Between the two, I like the S7 design. The larger port means it will do a better job at emptying dirt from the dustbin, especially hair, which can be an issue with the J7's smaller port. Also, connecting the port to the brush roll means it will take up any buildup in this area, a common issue with most self-emptying robot vacuums. iRobot changed the S7 dock and chopped off a good chunk from its vertical real estate. It's a bit wider than the older iRobot Clean Base station, but the increased width doesn't affect it negatively since it doesn't exceed the robot's diameter. One benefit of the wider base station is it has this storage slot for an extra bag. The S7 dock has a twin-barrel design, housing the filter and bag. Both robots are smart navigating robots that move in straight lines, but each uses a different navigation sensor. The J7 uses a front-facing camera and optical sensor underneath to help it distinguish landmarks and track location, while the S7 utilizes a laser sensor. Each option offers its distinct advantages. LiDAR is the more precise option since it continually fires signals in a 360-degree pattern, helping it create maps with better accuracy. A laser also isn't light-dependent, so you could use it in pitch-dark conditions without any issues. One disadvantage of a laser sensor is the extra height from the LiDAR cover. This extra height means it won't fit under furniture with 3.8 inches of clearance. This is where iRobot's camera sensor is advantageous, plus the absence of an IR sensor makes it sleeker, enabling it to go under lower clearance furniture. Nonetheless, LiDAR-based robots are more efficient with navigation. The S7 was much more efficient than the J7 during the coverage test, completing the run in a little over 20 minutes. The J7 took much longer, finishing the run in 35 minutes. The S7 was much better at navigating around tight areas than the J7. It was decisive where it needed to go, while there was indecisiveness with the J7, which is a significant reason why it took longer to finish. But iRobot did an excellent job with the J7's algorithm, so it's better than older Roomba models like the E5 and the I series at navigating around chair legs and didn't get stuck during any of the tests. The S7 was better during the coverage test, picking up most of the debris after the first pass. While the J7 wasn't as good, leaving more dirt even after 2 passes. This experiment highlights several things. First is the fast spinning side brush of the J7 as it scatters more dirt. Second, it missed several spots, particularly areas close to the clean base station. Third, the low airflow affected its pickup, and passes weren't as clean as the J7. The Roborock S7's higher airflow resulted in better coverage during the test, as it didn't miss as many spots. This experiment highlighted its high airflow, as it picked up more debris with fewer passes. If you value efficiency, the S7 is the better option. While the S7 has a more efficient navigation, the J7 avoids obstacles better thanks to its front-facing camera and LED. It's smart enough to recognize obstacles like wires and pet feces, 2 objects that most robots struggle with. iRobot says it has a database of more than 170 objects and counting. I've tried it on several like wires, shoes, slippers, and yes, pet feces, and it did well at avoiding these objects. The iRobot algorithm is smart enough not to get too close, which was an issue with other obstacle-avoiding robots, even ones using a front laser sensor. They even have a poop guarantee, or the pet owner official guarantee, basically saying that if the J7 touched dry feces, they'll replace it for free. And based on tests, it's the best by far at avoiding poop, not getting too close. The J7 is a compelling option for pet owners, or if you have lots of wires laying around and don't want to move them. It's smart enough to avoid them without tangling on it. The iRobot app further enhances this feature by allowing users to set these objects as temporary or permanent obstacles. Choosing the latter will automatically create keep-out zones, which is a time saver. The Roborock S7 can avoid obstacles, but with a caveat. It has to be within the laser's line of sight. It won't avoid anything that falls under or over its line of sight. While the Roomba J7 will avoid obstacles better, the Roborock S7 is more versatile. In addition to its vacuuming ability, it can also mop floors. This variant is the first with a vibrating mopping pad, adding an agitation element absent in other robot mops. It helps the S7 be more efficient with stain removal on surfaces like tile. However, there are limitations to what it can mop. It doesn't have a sprayer, nor can it suck in liquid. The S7 still drags a wet pad on the surface, so using it to mop sticky stains will leave a lot of residue. But the additional functionality can be handy for light-duty mopping tasks. There's no need to spend extra purchasing another product for this task. The Roborock S7 Plus has better airflow with up to 13 CFM in the max setting, nearly doubling the J7's 7 CFM output. However, despite the airflow disparity, the Roomba J7 had higher overall averages than the S7 in the cleaning tests. If you look closely, the J7 did better because of its superior deep cleaning performance, picking up 85% versus the S7's 78%. This disparity was enough to push the J7 over the top, but the S7 was better with most surface debris tests, which isn't surprising because of the higher airflow. The eye test also confirms this, as the S7 picked up more and made cleaner passes than the J7. Another benefit of the higher airflow is the better hair pickup. The S7 picked up more hair from 5 and 7-inch tests, but still a good chunk tangled, more so with longer 7-inch strands. The J7 was worse, barely picking up 50% with the 5-inch test and 30% with the 7-inch test. But one silver lining for me is that most of the hair wrapped on the axle, which is easier to clean than being wrapped on the bristles. Both did reasonably well cleaning edges, picking up most of the debris scattered on this test area, but neither did well picking up debris on the 1/4-inch crevice right here. It's another sign of the low airflow. Next, we look at the respective app features, and I'll highlight the most helpful to consumers. Overall, the Roborock app has more features not found in the iRobot app. It has a live map that shows the robot's location in real time and the cleaning status, where the robot's at during the run. iRobot doesn't have this feature and only shows a robot graphic. Both apps have containment features, but Roborock offers more options with deployment. It has no-go zones, no-mop zones, and the invisible wall feature. No-go and no-mop zones are redundant features because it offers the same functionality. Plus, the mop lift feature negates the latter. Also, it has a carpet sensor that shades areas with carpets or rugs, making it easier to mark these areas with no-go zones. iRobot has a similar feature they call keep-out zones. It has the same function, blocking off limit areas through these boxes, and consumers can use this feature along with the obstacle avoidance feature to mark permanent obstacle areas. One feature lacking in the iRobot app is the invisible wall feature. It enables consumers to block diagonal zones, not just vertical or horizontal spaces, increasing the areas users can block. Both apps have a map-saving feature. The iRobot app can save more, up to 10 map levels, 6 more than the Roborock app. Consumers can customize each map level, add partitions, containment zones, and custom names. The map-saving features unlocks other features like selecting room cleaning and zone cleaning. But only the iRobot app allows users to save these zones and name them. It's a helpful feature for high-traffic areas if you have these in your home that need frequent cleaning. Consumers can also control the number of passes in both apps, but each has different options. The Roborock app lets users specify the exact number of passes, while the iRobot app is a bit more nuanced, letting folks adjust by room size to help balance runtime and thoroughness. The Roborock app draws a more accurate map with the laser sensor than the iRobot that relies heavily on its optical sensor. A side benefit of the laser sensor is it creates partitions more accurately. The iRobot app has the genius feature that uses the phone's location services to unlock its functionality. For example, you can set it up so that the robot automatically turns on when the app detects you leaving your home. Another example is keeping the motor off until it reaches the area it's supposed to clean. Obviously, this feature is only applicable for selective room clean, but reducing noise always helps. Speaking of which, noise is another factor to consider, and Roborock is louder, maxing out at 69 decibels. Surprisingly, the J7 is relatively quiet, producing only 63 decibels, but the clean base station is loud at over 84 decibels. Lastly, the Roborock S7 will run longer with its large capacity 5200 mAh lithium-ion battery, with a claimed runtime of up to 180 minutes. The J7 won't run as long since it uses a smaller 2410 mAh battery and will only run for 85 minutes. After spending many hours testing these robots, I feel that the Roborock S7 is the better option since it did better in most categories. It was more efficient, finishing the run 15 minutes faster than the Roomba J7, taking full advantage of the laser sensor's precision. It's also better with surface debris pickup, scoring a few percentage points higher than the J7. Versatility is another strong suit as the S7 is the only option of the two that can mop, whereas you'll have to purchase the Brava if you need this feature with the J7. Though an advantage for the J7 is its obstacle avoidance capability, that's the best by far. It's the only robot so far I've tested able to evade stretch-out wires and pet feces without touching it. The iRobot app is smart enough that the robot doesn't get too close. Other than that, the S7 is the better robot overall. If you made it this far, I'd like to say thank you and consider giving this video a thumbs up. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified for future comparisons like this. Links are in the description for more information. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.